Hey everybody, how's it going? So today we're going to be going over that MacBook Air that I was going over yesterday. One of you very, very kindly pointed out to me that when my microscope went fuzzy, I put the two resistors and the capacitors like this instead of like this. So we're going to rotate it around and see if that makes this MacBook Air work again. And if it doesn't, then I'm going to toss this MacBook Air off a fucking bridge, because it wasted way too much of my time already, and it doesn't get a single second more after this is done. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to close the door, because I have a door to close now. Looks like nobody's here watching my stream, or that Restream is broken. I think nobody's watching my stream. Much sadness. Or is Restream broken? Oh no. Twitch wants me to use Authy to log in. No. No, please don't. Don't make me find where I put my phone. Alright. Here, I'm lucky. It was in my pocket. Here. Unlock phone. Damn you, Twitchy. Is this really worth it just to log into Twitch? Ah, here we go. Never mind. It's working in Restream. Fuck that. This is why I don't log into the Twitch chat, because they require me to use two-factor authentication. It's just a pain in the dick. I don't feel like scrolling through my phone for that every time I want to do a fucking stream. Anyway, I gotta it's for your safety. Why? Like, Twitch pays me $0. You want to steal my Twitch account? So someone else can have people say, why don't you, does he read Twitch chat? Anybody else want to steal that? Have access to it? Yeah, that's what I thought. Nobody. All right, so let's go to where I was yesterday. That's what I thought. So if we take a look at the schematic and board view, we have down here a resistor and a capacitor going side to side, and the resistor's on the bottom. But on the board, I have... Yeah, I done a stupid. I did a very stupid. So let's see if this works afterwards. I'm kind of curious. This is related to speakers, so I really don't think it's going to do anything. But you never know. The curiosity is killing me. I'm debating just removing this whole speaker thing altogether. Hello, Monopoly, Pyjack, Sandisti, House Legend. Fuck me, oh fuck, I think I fucked it up. Suck my dick, goddammit, fucking shit piece of crap. Oh well, this MacBook now does not have audio, so they won't be able to hear me sing. Dun 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 dun. Alright, so much for sound. You don't need sound anyway. Sound is overrated. Hopefully, at least since that resistor is not in the wrong way, maybe we'll get some difference and it'll turn on now. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Thank you, Captain Zero. Yeah, that's an old video, but I thought it would be worth posting. I remember some fuckface leaning over my camera like he wanted to touch it the whole time. So annoying. And this board can now suck my dick. It's still taking a static 270 milliamps, so that was not the problem all along. It's something else. This board can go to Paul or Chris. I think Paul is Chris is the new Paul now, so he gets all this kind of shit. That seems fair to me. All right, we're gonna get another board going here. We're gonna find another board. It's gonna be a great board. Why would anyone just randomly mess with someone else's stuff? Huh? Yes, Captain Zero. Today's the first day that Twitch chat is actually beating YouTube chat. Very interesting. Okay, what do I do with this ticket? Actually, hey Chris, how's it going? Let's see what Chris's status looks like. Bunch of people streaming nothing because of Corona on Twitch. Hey, this isn't nothing. This is quality fucking content. Hell you mean nothing? Me staring at my ticket statuses. This is why I don't read Twitch chat. You all just trying to trigger me. That's so offensive. I take such offense to that. Streaming nothing. Nothing. Like this is nothing to you. Alright, this can go in. Alright. What are your thoughts on door-side pickup drop-off of MacBook repairs? Do you think it would be worth a premium upsell? I'd have to have some money available to do it. Robin knew exactly what I did. If the computer is shut off or runs out of battery, the power button will not turn it on anymore. The only solution is to command reset the SMC. Every time it took longer for the machine to boot up. 2 days ago, this method no longer worked. That sounds like a rabbit hole to hell. What do we grab? What should I grab? I don't want to grab something that's going to make me hate my life, but I will. I'll grab this one. Be right back. Someone in chat said their A1237 is still kicking and alive and smiles at you. A1708, where the Wi-Fi got slower and slower over time until it took longer and longer to boot, and then the board died.
That's a dying CPU.
Yeah, these because Duke was saying he has a bunch of these with dead CPUs.
Yeah, no, I've seen that.
Random crash.
That's actually a very good telltale sign of a dying CPU.
Chris?
If they want to pay, yeah. If they don't want to pay, fuck.
CPU repair?
Yeah. But yeah, slow Wi-Fi is like very indicative of that.
What is with all these dead CPUs? It's almost like these products are uncooled properly. Lewis streams on Twitch. Yes, I do. I miss Paul in the background. You know what? I'd really like to get this office set up properly for video, and I haven't taken advantage of it. I'm using not 10% of the space in the office. My camera mount still kind of jiggles. At some point, I may be open to taking on a Twitch intern to help me make this into a proper stream where I have, because I'd like to be able to review different products, but I haven't really made proper use of the space. So instead of just having this little desk in front of me, this 8-foot desk with no space, I'm thinking of trying to come up with something that's like rounded like this, where I have separate cameras that I could switch between so I can show you different sections of the desk. There's all sorts of stuff I want to try out, but I haven't really been able to get any good ideas going yet because I don't know. I haven't really put together how I want everything to go. But I'd like to. It's going to take me some time. And the camera stuff is going to be cheap because all the cameras that I have, I use the Sony A5100 as my camera, and anytime I want to add a second camera, because I have 8 HDMI inputs here, what I would do is I can just use a stock lens on this. You can get this for dirt cheap, and it gives you really good quality. I'll show you. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, that's bids. Fuck that. No, buy it. Where's buy it now? Buy it now. Buy it now. All right. Anything that's under 100 is probably going to be accessories. Anything over 375 is going to be a ripoff. Yeah, here you go. Like, look at this. 324, 289, and this thing's pretty high quality. Like, it's genuinely, it's a really high quality camera. I have a couple of spare lenses that I could use on them. I sent you a 10-channel Yamaha miniature audio console. No, where do you find this stuff, JP? Thank you. I don't.
Is Duke watching, by the way?
No, why?
No.
He has been.
I fixed his drive. He sent his drive here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He sent that. He must really want the stuff on it because he talked to me about that like 3 days ago.
Oh, really?
All right.
Okay.
I'll pay you for that. Let me know what I owe you.
Okay.
What was wrong with it?
Translator. What he said, pretty much.
What was so? What is that, and how does that die on the Seagate?
The Seagate is trash.
Uh,
Yeah,
I'll ask him if he wants me to send it back or put it on the NAS, or if he. He's putting the data. Okay, so as is usual, this board has. So this is the quality of this camera. See, like this is a high quality camera. And you can get this thing for for virtually nothing. Look at this. Like this is, you don't need craziness with the camera. It's just I would need to have someone with better aesthetic taste than me, and not some fuck ass $7,000 architect designer that doesn't know jack shit, who's just maybe kind of acquainted with Twitch streaming and where to put stuff to like help me place this stuff and a couple of little desks and stuff to have in the background and all that kind of shit. But see, look at this. Like, this is quality. You get a lot of quality for $300 with this Sony. This is the Sony A5100, and it looks virtually identical to this. Like if I were to take the Sony A5100 and put it on there with that lens, it looks like you get the same image quality out of it. It's pretty good stuff. Anyway, do cameras still cut every 30 minutes? Who cares? I never use the internal recording feature of the cameras for any of my videos. I record directly to the computer using a Magewell. I have 8 inputs of capture in here, so I have 8. I can do 8 HDMI ins at once, and I use that. So it doesn't matter if it can record or not. I put my little DC adapter there, plugged into a power supply, and the thing's just on all the time. Finally caught you live. Here's the 4K scope camera you should get. Can't wait to watch more blurry out of focus parts in 4K. Says, I'm not saying that name, but thank you for the $5. Need to hire at Twitch thought. Ha. Yeah, that's a Sony A5100. I think I have a link to it down below, but it's pretty good stuff. So what I'm going to do with this board, this is typically dead CPU. A lot of these wind up at dead CPU. Duke has a lot of them with dead CPU. I get a lot of them with dead CPU. We're just going to see if some of the general trends continue here. So it's 19 volts. I have the battery plugged in, so let's just unplug that for a moment. But it's taking a static 350 milliamps. Static 350 milliamps. See? Static 350. Not changing. Oh, crap. I never actually fucking started recording. Hey everyone, how's it going? So today we're going to be getting started with a MacBook that is not working properly or turning on. This is an A1708 MacBook, and we are going to go over the problem here. It says initially it would not connect to 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi signal, or the connection would drop down to single-bit transfer rates when anything is plugged into any Thunderbolt port. We sent the computer to Apple, and they replaced the logic board and sent it back and said 2.4 gigahertz wouldn't work on this laptop. We have to use 5 gigahertz. In the process, it introduced a new issue. If the computer is shut off or runs out of battery, the power button will not turn the computer on anymore. The only solution is to do command reset the SMC, shift control option power. This worked for a few months, but every time it took longer for the computer to boot up. 2 days ago, this method no longer works and the computer will not turn on. This is very often a dead CPU on the A1708 model MacBook. You'll notice random crashing, and then after the random crashing occurs, it just dies. I really did think that this was something unique to the A1534 12-inch MacBook. That thing's a total piece of shit. It'll start giving you lines in the screen and random crashing and then be dead and just taking a static 300 to 500 milliamps. That's dead CPU. And these often have dead CPU as well. So I'm going to plug this thing in and see if we can figure out what is going on with it. So as you can see here, it's taking a static 350 milliamps. Hopefully you're not getting nice and nauseous there with my new desk setup. Anytime I tap something, it's like I have the camera mounted to the monitor, and then the monitor is mounted onto the desk, so you get double shake right there. Anyway, 350 milliamps static. That's typically a short to ground or some dead CPU. So let's see if we have a short to ground on one of our main power rails called PP Bus G3 Hot. The battery is unplugged. No short. So why are you taking a straight up 350 milliamps but not doing anything? That's really weird. Fuse blown. Fuse good. Yeah, you see how it's at 350 milliamps the entire time, just nice and steady like that? It's really strange, because if it's turning on, it'll be going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. That really does tend to be indicative of a short circuit on some rail. That's just taking a steady amount and keeping everything from turning on. We have 13 volts on PP Bus, though. So I'm going to go through this and see if there's a short. There's most likely not a short. Most likely this is a dead CPU, and it's a total waste of my time. But if there's anything I enjoy doing here at Rossmann Repair, it's wasting my time on boards that are complete piles of crap. The stuff that makes it into our pile is usually the stuff that nobody else wanted to fix. It's... I don't want to fix crap all day. I want something that's fixable. I feel like I have a Paul cue. This is karma. This is absolute karma. Karma. Clinton the cat. Clinton the cat. Clinton the cat. Clinton the cat. Is it not racist as misleading to say that your employees have an IQ of more than 160? That doesn't make sense. You mean racist or misleading. It's not racist because there's nothing to do with race there. It is misleading because people at the Genius Bar definitely do not fucking have an IQ above 160. And you can call me what you want for saying that, but that's the truth. Who called Clinton the COVID kitty? He is not a CovID cat. He's a Kivit cat. Kivit cat causes CovID. Speaking of, this computer does have hair in it. Nope, it's not, D. Satan. Yes, Twitch is for pre-recorded video only. You may wonder, how is it that I'm able to call your name if this is a pre-recorded video that's not live? That's because your life is pre-recorded and not live. Think about that. Anyway, back to this. So it looks like wrong screw is in here because it doesn't want to come out even when fully unscrewed. Yep, you're wrong screw. Who wrong screwed you? Oh yeah, this guy sent his computer to Apple. Of course it's going to be wrong screwed. Why wouldn't it be wrong screwed? If the video is not live, yet the person is able to respond to your chat, does that mean that determinism wins over free will? Think about it. I think that would be the ultimate argument for determinism. If you believe that the video is not live, yet the host of the video is able to call you out in chat and respond to you, does that mean that free will doesn't exist? Because that would mean that we live in a deterministic world. That everything is a rerun of something else. But you've opened that can of worms by asking that question. You've opened that can of worms. Why does CPU die here? It dies because it's inside of an Apple product. It doesn't want to be used in that way. It's kind of like when terrorists get caught by Jack Bauer and then they start getting questioned and they wind up killing themselves while Jack's looking the other way. They just don't want to be used in that way, you know? They decide they'd rather be gone than live a life inside of an Apple product, working for the enemy. Who wants to work at 80 Celsius idle their whole life? Yeah, this is an uncomfortable temperature. Now, I imagine that one of the SO rails is... So I want to figure out which one of these is shorted, because something's going to be shorted here. So we need to open up a schematic for the 820-00840 and see what's going on with that. Mamma mia, papa pia, da 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 da. You eat shit, Joseph. 24 is the best show on television. I will reference it from now until the day that I die. Okay. Kind of dated. You're kind of dated. Now, are you catching a virus from all the Apple products? Nope, I clean the Apple products before I touch them because they could have Cov ID on them. So now we're going to find the list of power rails. Where is my power rail? Okay. So we are going to go through this list and see if any of them are shorted. Now remember, in order to have S5 rails, you have to have G3 hot. Also, you need to have your S4 before you have your S3. You need to have your S3 before you have your SO. So let's try and figure out which tier to start looking at, because measuring every single power rail is going to take a ridiculously annoying amount of time, and who the hell wants to waste time like that? So let's check every rail. Now first we're going to start with our PP bus. Which I believe we already checked, but what the hell, we'll check it again. Why not check it again? I paid some of my rent in Ashfunk. I paid it 12 days late, but I paid it. I'm still on half rent. Next month is when full rent comes in. And I was just out of curiosity with with the management company for the building, and I said, how are people really handling this? Because this has got to be a nightmare for the other businesses that are all based on walk-in business when they're told they cannot have walk-in business anymore by law. And he said, oh, yeah, they have to have business loss of income insurance or business interruption insurance. And I said, yeah, I had that a while ago. And funny thing about that is that they told me that it wouldn't cover it for some ridiculous reason that made no sense, because I did not have flood insurance. But I didn't need to have flood insurance since my business was not damaged by a flood. And he's like, yeah, insurance does kind of suck. And I said, okay, well, if insurance kind of sucks, then why are you expecting everybody to still pay rent with it? How has a landlord reacted for the delay? Well, they gave me a website to pay my rent on that didn't actually work, so there's that. I solved it yesterday, but still, it's just like, that's in the back of my freaking mind right now, you know? All right, I'm missing PP5E S5. Let's see if there is a short to ground on it. There isn't. That's really on the back of my mind. So there was a website to pay my rent, and when I used it, the only address it would give me was another building. And I thought to myself, do I really want to pay someone else's rent? Nah. So it kind of... The thing is, any bill that I have right now, any bill that I have that requires I pay it by a check, just goes to the bottom of the pile. And people can say that's immature, that's a crappy way to do business, but like the way my business works is I need to make it easy for customers to pay, because if I don't make it easy for customers to pay, they will put off paying me. So I've made it as easy as possible to pay. There are numerous ways that you could... Son of a bitch, that is fucking refurbished. Apple gave this dude a refurbished ass board. Look, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? How do you have the gall to say that independent repair centers are not properly trained and may not know what they're doing when that's how you solder a fucking QFN? What the fuck is that? What the fuck? Look at this. There's still... Ugh. Clean off your goddamn flux in an ultrasonic, you cunt. Jesus Christ. I like my flux, but I like my crest more. All right, I don't trust that shit, so we're going to change that. We're going to change that with an unauthorized TPS 51980 from me. Anyway, where was I talking about? Oh yeah, it's the rent thing. So anybody, if you have a bill and you require that bill be paid by check, you're probably not going to get paid on time by me. I'm just going to say that right up front. If you have no other fucking way of accepting payments other than a check, then your bill is just on the absolute bottom of the pile. It's 2020. If you need a check to get paid, like, I get it, I respect it, but you're going to get paid when I decide to go to the bank for something else and ask for counter checks. Because my bank does not give me free business checks anymore. If I want a checkbook, I have to buy it. And it's not even the buying it that's a pain in the ass, because it comes out to, I don't know, like 50 cents, 20 cents, a dollar or so a check if I want the nice book. It's that I have to buy it off of another website, and I have to enter a bunch of information about my bank account into that website. So not only am I paying for a checkbook, but I have to fucking configure my own checkbook. It's not like I just walk into the bank and say I want a checkbook for this account. That's really, really annoying. So if you require that that you get paid by check, that's cool. You get your check when I have time to go to the bank, when I need to go to the bank for something else, and I ask for counter checks. Because I'm not making a trip to the bank every time I need to pay a bill. It's fucking ridiculous. And you can enter the 21st century like everybody else. So anyway, if you look over here, you'll see that this one pad over here looks like it's damaged. And it was never... So when this board got refurbished, because this customer did go to Apple to get this replacement board, whoever's refurbishing these boards for Apple does not follow my guidelines regarding soldering over corrosion or anything that's burned. So you don't solder over the corrosion. This is a question I get a lot. Lewis, why are you soldering on top of corrosion? I'm not. You may see me doing this constantly. I'm scraping. So what I'm doing over here is I'm scraping to ensure that I get rid of all of that junky, rusty-looking crap, and I want that all to get collected on this solder blob that is going onto my iron. Because this really hot solder, the flux is going to help that happen. There's flux in the solder, and as I'm moving it back and forth and scraping, what I want to have happen is for all that nasty crap to go onto the iron itself, onto that blob of solder. And then once I'm done with that, I go over it with this Goot wick that I have here that you can get on store.rossmanngroup.com. Don't delay, Apple or authorized service provider. Buy today. add some more Amtech flux, and I'm going to go over that again. And people may think this is overkill, but that's fine. I don't want my board to look like this garbage. We have standards here at Rossmann Repair. We have standards. Apparently they're higher than the Apple one. But this is what we do. And I'm just going to keep cutting off little bits of that. And then I'm going to... Now, the wick acts very much so kind of like sandpaper. And it's going to help me a lot there. See? I'm going to scrub. I'm not going to solder on top of corrosion. So there I had a lot of mixed leaded and lead-free solder. The leaded solder makes it easier to remove things because it melts at a lower temperature. But it's also just in general easier to work with. And I'm just I'm going around here. These pads are not like the pads on an iPhone. I can use a lot more force before I have to worry about anything. So, by the way, if you're looking at what I'm doing here, don't do as I do here on an iPhone motherboard because those are different. The pads are stuck on with a lot less. Alcohol dispensers that don't dispense until you beat them are partially responsible for the spread of coronavirus. All right, so we're going to clean this up like so. And see? Now this is a surface that you can solder to. You don't solder on top of burn marks. You don't solder on top of corrosion. That's not how any of this is supposed to work. You solder on a clean surface. See? Like this. Okay, now we're ready. Let's get rid of that alcohol with the hot air. Add flux. Now we tin the pads. And I'm just going to do a little mild scrape on each one. See? Just like that. And then the center pad. Alright, wait for my iron to heat up. Beeps. Okay, we got a nice little mountain on the center pad. A little mound there. More flux. Now we're going to grab a TPS 51980 chip from store.rossmanngroup.com. Where else would you get your TPS 51980 chip? Okay, Spider-Man. Steve gets a mask and you don't?
He's dealing with a customer.
What customer? What this?
Yeah, it's coming from one. It's already ordered, it's just on the way. Yeah.
You said that yesterday.
Not about this one.
I guess store.rossmanngroup.com is totally out of stock now.
Just a filter and let it all collect in the barn. Never use it. The bag is like 10 times better. It makes cleaning it 10 times better, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
He's Spider-Man.
I'm always snacking my construction debris and everything. Nails would probably go through that. Yeah, they'll rip it. But if you actually touch it, it's pretty strong.
Can you get everybody to wash their hands and wear gloves?
Yeah. To get so far, yes, all
This progress, especially Dan. Mostly Dan, because he touches all the incoming and outgoing. He can't.
Exactly. If you're touching
But
Camille has gloves and Chris has
Somebody finally complained I don't read Twitch chat. Wow, that's a record. It took 43 minutes today. I've never seen that before. Holy shit. Thank you all for that amazing self-control you displayed there. Anyway, so we're back. I got a chip from a donor board. Apparently I don't have... I can't get this chip from Texas Instruments because Apple, so I have to get them from China. The corona has kind of slowed that down. But luckily, I have some donor boards here with chips. Soothing air sound, says Epoch. Indeed. We're going to take a nice, happy little certified pre-owned chip here for my donor. Over this chip to the side of the TPS 50980, just so it doesn't get warm, I put a box cutter over it as my heatsink. Now we're going to float this into place. I push down, so it's not making some nice contact with the board. You don't want the chip to be sticking up from the board, because the chip, same with a connector that you're soldering, if it's too high, it's going to be very difficult to solder. The solder, ideally, the chip would actually work because it's flat on the board without you soldering it. That's what you're going for. You want it to be so close to the board that even if it's not soldered, it's just making enough contact that it works, and then the solder is just kind of there to hold it in place. So that's what I'm really going for. We go over each joint individually. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay. That's great. There we go. Now we're going to see if we get anything different. Okay, check it out. It's no longer staying at 350 milliamps static. It's staying at 130 to 170, 250, 200, 180, 100 milliamps, 180 milliamps. It's doing something. I still think that this is most likely going to have a dead CPU. I still have no faith in this board. I'm fairly certain. Yeah, 110 milliamps most likely means that it's a dead CPU. This thing is brain dead. It's not actually doing anything. But we fixed the first problem here. This was an Apple refurb board. It was very obviously an Apple refurb board. And the Apple refurb boards are, I mean, you see the quality of it. This is just garbage. You're soldering on top of burn marks and corrosion. It's awful. And I don't have any trust or faith in them. I also have very little trust and faith regarding the problems that this person was having. They all sounded like CPU-related issues. I think that they may have taken another board that had CPU-related issues and given it to him, which is kind of a fucked up thing to do, but Apple. So let's see what this is. Let's see if this is booting into a drive or anything like that if I plug in the screen. I doubt it is because of how low the amp usage is. I really doubt that this thing has a brain or is doing anything. I'm fairly certain that this is going to be a brain-dead pile of junk. But let's just check, double check and see before we write this off entirely as a brain-dead pile of junk. Also, I have to give Chris something. BRB. Oh, okay. Cov ID. Cov ID. Cov I fucking D. All we want to do here is see if we get anything on the screen. We want to see if the CPU has Cov ID 19. Hopefully it does not. I just got an electrostatic headphone that doesn't swivel. Yay. I don't understand why the headphone has to swivel. Yeah, 40 milliamps. 120? Oh, look at that. Crap, I can't hit a key because I didn't plug the damn keys in. All right, unplug, try this again. All right, so it looks like we solved one problem, which is that it wasn't turning on. Let's try this again. There you go. All right, the machine looks like it boots up again, and it does turn on. So before it wasn't turning on. This customer had a machine that was giving them CPU issues. They had it replaced by Apple. Apple fixed the board, and when Apple fixed the board, they literally soldered a chip on top of burn marks. And you could see that instead of having a proper little solder bump like there were on all the QFNs, a nice little smooth hill, there was what looked like a pebble. And then when I moved the pebble, you could see that there were actual burn marks on the solder pad. Again, this is very important. Whether it's because a chip has burned out or because there's liquid damage. If you see rust there, you don't solder on top of it. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm going over it with the iron and I'm doing mild scraping. Not harsh scraping, mild scraping. On an iPhone, much more mild scraping. But here, mild scraping. And if it's a power pad, I know that it's going to be attached to a very thick power plane. I know it's something where I can do a little bit more scraping. Here, I believe it was the PP-Bush G3 Hot input to the TPS 51980. That chip is responsible for our 5-volt rail. PP5ES5 was missing. When you take a look at this, the pin that I was looking at right over here that was burned, this is the pin where PP-Bush G3 Hot, the 13-volt rail, is going to come into the chip. That's the highest voltage, the highest amperage that's going to come into the chip. So there's going to be a nice hardy power plane there for me to work with. So I am able to do a scraping a little bit harder than usual. And I scrape, I solder. I'm not soldering on top of the corrosion. I'm adding solder as I scrape because I want all of that rust and garbage and junk to get sucked up into that big burning solder ball so that I can then clean it off and remove it. And I keep doing that back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Then once I'm done doing that, I'm going to use some wick right here, which, by the way, you can buy on store.rossmanngroup.com. This wick over here is going to suck everything up, and it also works kind of like sandpaper. Jessa doesn't like wicking pads, and I completely understand why she doesn't, because on iPhones, pads lift very, very easily in contrast to MacBooks. Here, the same thing kind of applies, but since we're in A, MacBook, more sturdy board, and B, that is a pad for 13 volt, higher amperage input to this chip, I can be a little rugged with it. So I use that, and I was using it kind of like sandpaper to not just get rid of the solder that was on the pads, but also to kind of help me wipe away any of that junk. Then I put a chip on top of it. Also, I am out of that chip at the moment. I had to grab it off of a donor board. I'm not able to buy that chip through standard means because what Apple tends to do is they reach out to companies like Intersil and Texas Instruments and say, hey, you know this chip that's very commonly used, and change this one thing about it, and then only sell it to us so that we're the only ones who can fix our machines. Can we cut that shit out? Like, the supply chains are already slowed down due to coronavirus. So it's taking me much more time to get chips like this in, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. Imagine if I could just buy that chip from Mouser or DigiKey. What if I was a much higher volume business and I just couldn't deal with taking them all off of donor boards? It's really lame. And the way that this board was refurbished was, in my opinion, a complete disgrace. Shame on you. Shame on you for making it sound like the independents are the ones that are going to do this. The very thing you're afraid of is that your brand is going to be damaged by the fact that unauthorized people work on your stuff. If a device has work done on it by an unauthorized person that has nothing to do with Apple, and it's a bad repair, that doesn't really do much. But if you refurbish the device yourself, using your own technicians, and you're soldering on top of corrosion, see, that fucks up your brand. And I go over this in every video. I don't charge money for these videos. They're all free. So Apple, if you'd like to play these at Flextronics or CSAT or wherever it is that you are having people do these types of repairs, you're more than welcome to use my videos as training. I'm not going to charge you. It'll result in your brand looking better. That's it for today. And as always, I hope that you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now. Did the badly installed chip die, or could you reuse it? I don't give a fuck. It's too cheap. It's too little money to care about. They're going to be paying me a few $100 for this. I'm not going to use a chip that... Who the hell knows? That guy could have probably kept a hot air station on top of the thing for 90 seconds and killed it. If I refurbish this board any better, you couldn't afford it, says Eugene Harrington, a.k.a. Kopaz. Hey, Lewis, I heard audible static crackling coming from a 2015 MacBook Pro after running boot camp. Didn't seem to come from speakers. Should I be worried? I have no idea. Stuff like that, I really have no clue. I'm sorry. Like when some people say my MacBook shocked me or I heard some random static, anything like that that's random, no clue. No idea whatsoever what it could be. So this machine, let's put some notes in for this. I kind of want to eat my lunch, so I'll be back later. BBL. BBL.